Hello friends, welcome to my channel back again. Today we talk about something related to your MERN stack. My objective is to clarify two different verticals about your Node as well as React, how they integrated to each other. And my main focus is that how if I create some server-based application via Node Express, how I can interact with my React application. But yes, exactly. Towards the journey of the same, let's try to work on first purely on Node.js, then we'll move towards your React part as well, right? Fine. So for that, what I've done is I created one folder by the name of MERN app. You can see. Let me select the folder. First of all, I would say the best job is you have to create two folders. Let's say Frontend, Backend. Open the terminal. Now you can straight away jump to backend first. Technically, yes, we should say npm init-y that will create your node environment, right? Then we should start working on a plain file. Let's say I'm creating one file, let's say server1.js for example. Let's try to build one express object first within the same, and let me include express library. Though I know it's an external library, so we need to install, we'll do it, right? But let me write down the base first. So I'm just creating the object of your express. We will be using operations in terms of JSON. So let's include that as well. And let's provide the kind of default endpoint right to the business so that we can make a connect to your service, right? We all know what is request and response. So request coming from the client, response given back to the client. So let's go with simple thing, a simple message. Let's say welcome to my Node.js server world via Express. Just a message, right? Nothing related to specific one. Then once the object of I would say Express is filled with one particular endpoint, why not to associate our server with a specific port number. So you can assign, let's say 3000. What exactly do you want to be performed once the server is active? Best way is like you should go for console.log. Let's say server running on port 3000. Just a good idea, right? I would say. Now save the file over here, go back to simply say node, let's say server1.js. Definitely you will get some error related to Express because we haven't installed. So go back to this. So npm install Express will take fraction of seconds. Now you can see my server is getting started, right? Fine. Now the thing is to test whether it is working or not. So the best way I would say is let's open up Chrome. Now within this Chrome, I would say simply type localhost colon, what is the port number? 30,000. Save and enter. Yeah. Now you can see your one message, the same message which you have already lined up on this particular port, it is appearing, right? But as of now, we do have only one port, right? Now, why not to have one more port? Let's say, let me do one thing. I'm just copying, pasting this twice. And let me go with, let's say one is for about, one is for, let's say contact. Let's say this is about us page. This is contact us page. Now the thing is, if I'll try to run through this directly, it won't work, right? Why? Because we haven't stopped the server. Because any sort of changes which we are having on your server, you need to stop, you need to restart, you need to go back. Now just say refresh. Wow, as simple as you can think of. Now I'll say contact, perfect. Now if I'll remove this, perfect. So till now it's simple job wherein we are just providing the base of making a call to your server endpoints, right? But let's do one thing. Let's try from Postman as well. We all know the tool is very famous for testing your functionalities available within the API, right? So what I'll do is, give me a second. Yeah. So port is already running, right? So let me copy the same URL. Let me place it over here and let me hit this send. See, not only this, even if I'll try for about, it should work. Perfect, I believe. Fine, right? So that is first thing, that we are able to make different endpoints and we started working on the same stuff. But the very important thing is right now we are having only one type of method called get, right? Now let's try to introduce something related to your post as well, right? Now when it comes to post, the simplest thing as of now I would say is what? Let's declare some variable. Let's say I'm saying booking as an array, because ultimately if I'm going to add some values I need to hold, right? So post, what exactly endpoint you want to define? Let's just save. What exactly the parameter would be, that remains same, that is req comma res, right? So save parameter req res, right? I should use qualifier. Then this one, we all know the request would be coming from client in the request object. So let's pick up the same. So constant booking equal to req dot body. You do have req dot params, req dot query for two more ways to interact with your request. As of now, we are using body so that any form which is making a call to this particular page can grab the values, right? Now let's see console.log. Let's try to print the values from here. Let's say booking receive, right? And comma, let's say name of the object that we have created. One object, right? Because here we are holding the one of the booking. Then further, let's add this booking to bookings dot, because it's an array. So I'm using push, as simple as, right? And finally, I can simply say total info, right? And I can simply print the array itself, right? That's it. So when I'm having this page of post request, The best part would be I can make a call to your post. Fine. Okay, let's do one thing. Let me go back to this. I'm opening one more. I'm copying this URL, pasting here. As we are going to talk about something called post, I need to change the method. But as we done some changes, I need to stop the server. I need to restart the server. Fine. So that I can start using my post method. So I should use /save, right? Now the point is when I hit this send, right? Go back to server, you'll see undefined. Now why undefined? Might be we haven't passed anything, that is why it is undefined. Okay, let's try. Let's do one thing. Let's say within this body section, let's try to have something called, let's say, raw. Then let me cancel this. Then let's say JSON. And let me put something like, for example, let's say name colon Harmeet. Fine. So I'm just trying to pass this payload to this URL, especially this endpoint that should receive over here. Right. Let's try. Perfect. Awesome. Right. So at least we are able to hold the name which is being sent from this postman to this endpoint, and the same value we are receiving over here in this req.body. And that is why we were able to print the value called Harmeet. And then why it is showing this undefined? Because boss, first time when we run undefined, it has been stored in this one list. That's it. Fine. But the thing is, as of now, we are using your postman. Now the question is, can we do this call? I mean, this call from the browser itself? No. Why? Because browser mainly supports only get methods. But in order to make it for post, I mean, if you want to try post methods via browser, boss, you need to create form. And I think there is I think like that is the only reason we should require either the front end like HTML or front end like HTML plus JavaScript, or our favorite front end called React application, right? Fine. Before moving further, let's try one more interesting stuff. Let me do one thing. Let me copy this. Let me paste this. Let's say bookings. So what I'm thinking is, why not to return all the list of booking from here itself, right? So let me try. We'll say res dot send bookings. That's it, right? Let me stop the server, clearing the screen, running this. Fine. Now I'm going back to this. Let's say booking. It should say blank first. Perfect. Now let me do one thing. I'm from another screen. Like I'm trying to save this value. Let's say first time values are coming. Let me add one more one. Let's say Aman. Let me send. See, and let me click on this. The other one. Send. Workout. See, I'm getting the values right. So my all the endpoints are coming, the simple endpoints plus the endpoint having post plus the endpoint having get and bookings, so that I'm able to read or fetch the value from this simple array, right? But let's make it bit better. Let's see if I need to attach some pages, and especially the HTML pages within the server itself. Do I need to do something better? I mean, do we have some way through which I can create some HTML pages at server end? Yes, we do have. Let's create one folder called public. Within that, let's say dashboard.html, and let's plot a basic structure of HTML having some basic functionality of, let's say, form method equal to post action equal to what is the URL of the post based endpoint slash save. Now in between this, start using input type equal to text ID equal to movie name. Let's give name as well so that our backend can understand well, because I hope you know ID is required especially for JavaScript. I mean the client-side scripting. Name is required especially when it comes to the backend, right? Movie name, right? And I can add placeholder which looks nice. Enter movie name, something like this, right? So technically I'm about to add this. Fine. So my form is ready with calling of action, plus all the input text boxes are ready, plus one save button as well, right? But the problem is how to make a call to this particular page. I mean, do you feel if I'll connect this particular page directly on the server, will that work? Let me try. So I'm opening the browser back again and just say, let's say dashboard.html. See, nothing is happening. See, the reason is very clear. The folder, the file which you have created on the server, have you connected that within your server, within the server page? No. Let's do that, right? So let's do one thing where we connected this app. Just do one thing, app.use. There is something called express.static through which we can associate any particular folder within the business, right? But the thing is, we need to provide the path. So for paths part, we should use one library called path, right? So let's go back to static and let's say path dot join. What do you need to join is double underscore dir name. I'm sure we know what is double underscore dir name. The idea of double underscore dir name is for your current directory, right? Comma, what is the name of the folder you have created? It's public. Now this line will help you to grab all the files available over here at the server, and you can use the file within the server itself, right? I'm running it again, right? Going back over here, just refreshing. See, bang on, bang on. Now let's try. I'm putting up some value. Let's say trying to click on save. See, it says undefined. The reason is very clear. The thing is, now you are trying to interact your server with the HTML page. How come communication will happen? You already told that boss, please include the file. See, inclusion of the file doesn't mean your request can start being listened by the server. So what we are supposed to do is we have to tell to the server that boss, now we are about to use some post request from HTML and we need to handle that. So let's try one more piece. Dot use express dot URL encoded. Within that, you should say extended colon true. Let me save. Let me stop server, restarting it. Well, wait, let's clear the screen, right? Starting the server, back again, going back, refresh. Let me put the values again, and let me hit on save. Wow, see, now we are able to add. Not only this, let me do one more interesting stuff. Let's say, see, for one record this, multiple record this, and not only this is the best part, let me show you back again on this. The post, send. See, see. So till now we are just enjoying your server part only. But let me show you one more interesting stuff. Sometimes people says apart from this style, there is one more way. You know what is that? Let me show you. Let me do one thing. Let me add one more dashboard. Let's say dashboard2.html. Let's talk about one more HTML. Now what I've done in this, let's try to understand what is so special about this particular piece of work. Some HTML developers who knows JavaScript, they may use this. So one way to interact with your server from Node itself is this, where you are making a call to your save, which is available in this this section. But there is another way, right? What is that? Let's see. We created a couple of fields the way we did earlier as well. But this time we did something different. We created button of save booking, button of load booking. Now when I'm saying save booking, we are making a call to some save booking function. But where is this function? Just go down, go down. It is here. So technically we created two functions, save booking, load bookings within JavaScript. Now if I expand, now you can see what exactly we have done is nothing. It's your DOM functionality. Now what DOM says, let's try to understand, right? Number one, document.getElement by ID, this value. So I hope you remember in your JavaScript you must have done, we are referring to a particular control. We are reading the value. So control's value we are reading. So any name, movie name, we are grabbing it. Any customer name, we are grabbing it. Any ticket value, we are grabbing it. But very important and very interesting. At this point, we are trying to create payload. We are trying to create payload. So whatever be the value in booking, what is that? These three values. We are we are doing the kind of a typecasting, right? Using JSON.stringify and passing to your payload so that we will be ready with the payload. Because when I say fetch method, just see carefully. Fetch is a method that takes URL as well as the payload. You know what is payload? I told you, I believe payload is additional information that we are about to pass to your server within the request. Because I told you request coming from the client to the server. So we are passing these values to the server to say that, hey boss, these are the values we want to pass on to you. Now server will receive these values at this part, and especially this object. Further, that value will be received over here, and remaining we all know what will happen in that case, right? So the good advantage is in this case, whole responsibility we have placed it on your JavaScript, because here we are making a knock to your server, right? And about to perform certain action. Let's try. I'm saving it. There is no need to restart because these are the static files. So let me open your browser directly, and rather on this page, let me put it on another with dashboard 2, right? Now when I put some any movie name, any customer name, any number of tickets. See carefully. My page is not getting refreshed. Kind of functionality, kind of same functionality. But as compared to this, you can see here, when we clicked, the entire page get refreshed. Right? Why? Because JavaScript, when you hit on this, takes these operations from the backend and started working on the retrieval or saving or whatever. Right? So this is one thing. Now the very important thing is that the first thing that we have done is your backend. Now what about front end? Might be people says that these are the front end itself. That Amit, why do we need front end separate tool? Boss, these two things that we created, I already told you, that is to test your server endpoints. And these are plain HTMLs. Are we using any React over here? No. Are we using any Angular over here? No. But in front end, we should use that. Fine. So let's try. I'm stopping the server, opening one more PowerShell, right? CD front end, right? Now let's try to create one command that will help you to create React application. So let's try to go with this one, npx create React app front end and then TypeScript. Why TypeScript? Because I told you that idea behind TypeScript implementation within React is to make sure about the type safety. That is what the good advantage. So let's create that particular React application. So the React application is being created over here. You can see lots of folders and all that, right? It is already done. Let me clear the screen. Let me trigger the server by using, let's say, npm start. Yes, I should enter to the folder, application folder, right? Then I should say npm start. So one PowerShell is being, let's say, let me start the server, is being occupied with my server services, and my another PowerShell is being handled by my front end application called React. See, my server, which is placed at front end, right? See why I'm saying server at front end, because obvious this React application needs some server to be triggered, and that is why I told you starting the development server. So there is a separate dedicated server being implemented on a front end internally so that our application can be deployed. So let me go back to your app.tsx, right? I hope you remember I most of time told you to remove this header and just say, let's say anything you want to say. Let's say welcome to React app, for example. I'm going back to this. See, it is appearing like this. And let's do one thing. Let's create a separate component. Let me create a folder. Within that, let's say I'm saying add booking.ts6, right? Fine. So let's add one component functionality within the same, right? So let's say function add booking. Let's export this function outside this file. Default booking, right? Let's do one basic stuff called return that will carry JSX, right? Welcome to add booking component. Fine. The problem would be if I'll open up the browser, nothing will be reflected. Reason is clear because this is separate component than your app.txs. Have you included that within the main parent component? No. Let's do that. I'm selecting add booking so that my reference to that file gets added, that component gets added, and let me close it. Let me get back to my browser. See, it is coming. Now let's go back to this. Let's try to have H1 style, right? So that it makes a bit better in terms of look and feel. Now I can say, let's say form. So let me grab these things from here, going back to my ad booking TS6. So HTML is very non-syntax based, I would say, to a certain extent, but React is very much, and that is why it is asking for closing the tag actually, right? If I'll go back, first start form is starting, form is closing, div start, div close. Okay, let me check here. Refresh. Yes, it is coming. See, it is coming. Now I can put some name, customer name, movie name, customer name, as well as ticket. And when I click on that, it should call my server page as well, right? Now for that, I should do what? Number one, form method equal to post. You will say Harmeet obvious. Then action equal to any event handler name. Let's say on submit. Right now, where is on submit? Let's try to build that over here. So on submit constant, or otherwise we can simply say, let's say I'm just trying to check whether it is working or not. So I'm saving it, going back to browser, refreshing, movie name, customer name, tickets. When I click on, yes, it is clicked. So at least I'm able to fetch, no, at least I'm able to click on the button and it is being interacted within your React application, right? Now, let's do one thing. Let's create couple of variables as per the text fields that we do have, right? So let's say constant square bracket, let's say m name comma set m name, right, equals to use state of string, and default value will, let's say, blank. So we are creating one use state object, right? One of the hook available in React to hold the variable's value throughout the page, right? So this is first thing, second thing, third thing. So m name, then there's a c name, set c name, right? Then we do have, let's say, ticket, set ticket, ticket, right? This thing, right? And let's try to relate these values by this way. So value equal to within the curly brace m name, right? Okay, fine. I should define it as an data type, right? So value as an m name, then this thing as an c name, then this as an tckt. Yeah, ticket. Right. So perfect, I believe. Now here, what we are supposed to do is, so what I'll try is I'll pick up dashboard 2 and especially this code, and let me place it over here exactly at this point. I'll do couple of changes over here. I should start with a sync, which I forgot to place it over here. No, I did. Fine. Second, where is booking? No worries, we'll do one thing. So we'll say constant booking of string of wait of string, and we'll initialize the value by either I can say m name, c name, this thing, because the moment I say this style, the value should be concatenated, stored in booking, that will be passed on to JSON. But the thing is, as it is not of the format of a object, so it might be a trouble. So let's do one thing. Let's create it in a object style. And third one is for now that object will be created at this line number 9, and that is we are passing to this as an payload, to which URL? To your save URL. But the interesting problem would be, where is save? Is it on the same server where this React application is running? No, it is on another server. And that server is running on this, right? So the URL which we used for server, it is 3000. So pick up this, place it here, slash save, that remain as it is, right? So I'm saving it, going back to the browser, going back to the React application, refreshing screen. Let's say movie name, let's go for something different, let's say. So interesting stuff. You will see the moment I'm trying to type anything, it won't work. See, the very simple thing is, as compared to your normal HTML pages, you won't able to type anything into those text boxes because they are controlled inputs, but don't have any on change event handler. The only thing is, when you do this, React assumes that mname is the only source of truth. So if you don't update mname when the user types, React keeps rendering the old value, making the previous blank to remain as it is, and in short, it will make you as in read only. So what we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to make very small change. Let's add on change over here. Which way? It would be the same event style, which I already told you guys. Set mname e dot, remember, value. Now same thing I need to have it for this, for this, but let me change set c name, set ticket, that way. Fine. Now once it's done, let me go back to my browser, refreshing it. Let me try to put some movie name over here. Let's say Spider-Man. Yes. Ratchet. 20 tickets. I'm clicking on server. See, it should say fail to fetch, right? When you are getting failed to fetch, especially for this, what would be the problem? Any guess? You can see this error. Yeah, see, the reason is you defined on submit on where action, because we thought of the way we did action over here in this dashboard, we use the same style. But when it comes to React applications, so it should not with action, it should with your on submit. And I'm sure you must have done similar styling there in your JavaScript based HTML interaction as well, right? So let me refresh this, putting up server, sorry, movie name. It is going somewhere else, but not having the idea whether I'm getting some data or not. But let's try. Let's go back to our postman. We were having bookings, remember? Let's try to send. No, nothing is being stored. Say right click on this, say inspect console. Now you can see there is something called wallets following content security policy something something. See, the very simple reason is these are two different servers we are working on right now. One is your Node server and one is your React server. So the only interesting kind of problem is that you cannot make interaction with each other. So because of course, the problem is this server cannot interact it with my backend server. So go back to server. Over here we need to install one more library that is called as course, and you should say app.use course. Now before jumping further, I should say npm install course as well. Go back to this, back. Now just put any movie name, any customer name, any number of tickets. Now you can see my server is getting reflected over here. The values are getting reflected over here. Not only here, if I'll go back to my postman, see, values are getting reflected. Fine. By this way, my backend can be connected with the front end and can save the data as well, right? Now, if I want to make a call to this push, how I can use again within this, the way we do have add booking, I can have read or fetch booking as well, right? Now, sometimes people are using fetch, sometimes people are using Axios as well, right? At the front end level. So let's say if I'll have to use front end, if I have to use Axios at front end, so I should say npm install Axios. Then let me comment out this. Let me do this thing. And on top, I should say import Axios from Axios. That's it. Now, if I'll run through this again, so you'll see the moment I run through this, any movie name, any customer name, any number of tickets, when I put and I hit on save, let me check on server. See, values are getting reflected. That is what the best part is, right? So when it comes to Axios, the good advantage you can see, lots of these kind of lines of a fetch can be reduced in a very shorter way. And lots of other advantages as well, because Axios is dedicated library to take care of your API operations. So till now we are done with the sieving or the adding part, right, towards the server from React. Now, if I have to, let's say, go for listing, let me create one file. Let's say list bookings.tsx, right? So let's say function list bookings. I'll do the export part as well so that I can wait. I can use this booking object across, right? So first of all, let's declare one object called, let's say, bookings, associate with some method called set bookings equal to, let's initialize with useState object with, let's say, default initial as an array, right? Let me plot a basic return so that at least I can see whether I'm able to render this section or not. Listing bookings here like this, right? My app.tsx, right? So let's go with HR, then this way. And if I go back, see, horizontal line and list bookings here, my another component, right? Now, if I'll go back here, first of all, I'll do one thing. Let's create one handler over here. So let's say constant load bookings, right? Equal to async values. This, right? And what I'll do is I'll use the same Axios style over here, or fetch style, whichever. Let's try to use fetch. So constant response, this one, I'll use it here. So as it is, I hope you remember it was bookings. I'll use that. Closing the bracket, this thing. So once I hit the fetch, my response will be holding this variable. Further, I will be saying constant, let's say data equal to response dot JSON. But as it is again a synchronous operation, let's play safe. And once the data would be available, let's pass it to your set booking, which in turn it is being passed to my bookings variable, right? Now within the this thing over here, I can utilize my curly brace system, that is interpolation. The variable is bookings. I hope remember we do have one function called map that will take the value as an booking comma index. Either you can take as in booking or you can take as normal variable as well, right? But qualify on this thing, and this way, right? So what I'll say is booking, then I'll start using tr td if it is required, right? So within curly brace I can say booking dot movie movie name. Right, this one. And the third one is for tickets. Ah, fine, no, it is fine. So if I'll run through this directly, so you can see, okay, movie name does not exist on type this thing. Yeah, now you can see you will be getting like this. The reason is you thought of that booking will be having these three. How come React? No, we don't have any way. So one way is you can plot the data type over here by saying this way. Now you can see the error goes off when I save this, going back to browser. Right now, let me start putting values. Right, yeah. So you can see at least error goes off. Number one. Number two, let's make a call to this load bookings at this part. Wow. See, my data is coming, right? But you can see immediately we are getting some error, failed to fetch load bookings, right? The reason we know, as we are making changes to this component outside the component, we need to use effects. Fine. So let's try to implement use effect. Let's create the basic structure like this, and let's do this way. Now let me go back to the browser. Let me refresh. Now you can see nothing is happening like that. We are able to display the records over here easily. Right, you can make it better by just say, let's say h1. This now sounds fine. So add booking, list bookings. So by this way, I think you can check out how my backend services, especially if I'll talk about post and the GAT, I'm able to directly connect with my React application. First, I shown you with plain HTML, which are placed at the node itself, node server itself, and then I added towards the React part. Why I created this, I told you, if you don't need to jump upon these many stuff for the testing of your server, you can create some dummy HTML pages or pilot mode pages. But later on, yes, exactly when it comes to MERN, yeah, you can go with this way.